back to another video, and today I'm going to be going over a Ted Cruz versus Joe Biden election prediction 2024. If you guys haven't yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, leave a like down below. Comment if you guys would like me to continue this type of political content, and ring that bell to receive notifications when I post, which will be every other day or so. Sorry I haven't been posting. I've just been really ready. I'm preparing for Easter, so happy Easter, guys. Let's get into the election prediction. So, Joe Biden is the current president of the United States. And he announced that he will be running in 2024. So, he will most likely be running. And this is the reason why I will not be making as many Kamala Harris election predictions, because there really is no point, because there's most likely Kamala Harris is not going to be on the presidential ballot. She's going to be vice president. So it's really not going to be something very important to go over when Kamala Harris is not going to be president. She's not going to be running as president. So Joe Biden, 213 electoral votes safe. And for Ted Cruz, we're going to add one district in Nebraska. It's going to put Joe Biden at 214 electoral votes. And Ted Cruz at 105 electoral votes. So, in Montana, Obama got it by a lean margin, and as Ted Cruz is not the best Republican candidate chosen, if Donald Trump cannot go for a rematch with Joe Biden, then Ted Cruz will be able to. So I want to bring that Montana down to 4 electoral votes, Montana down to a lean margin for Ted Cruz. Not a very big win for him. In Iowa, Ted Cruz is not going to be able to appeal to these voters. I think it's going to be a tilt margin for Joe Biden. I think Ted Cruz can take the state, but I think Joe Biden is going to win Iowa because Donald Trump won it by 8%, and I think it's going to go about 9% to the left, as Ted Cruz did not do as well as Donald Trump. And we all know that Ted Cruz is not going to do as well as Donald Trump. And we know that Ted Cruz is not going to do as well as other Republican candidates. And Ohio in general is a 3% margin state for Republicans besides Donald Trump. And when you have Ted Cruz on the ballot not doing as well as those Republicans, it's going to shrink from that 3%, a few percentage points down to a Joe Biden victory. In Ohio, I'm going to put this at tilt for Ted Cruz. This could go either way, just like Iowa. But I think the state is going to go by a small margin to Ted Cruz. Why do I think that? Well, because in general, Bush carried the state by about 3%. Trump carried it by 8%. I do think it's going to go, still is going to be a victory for Ted Cruz, but it's not going to be as big as what Donald Trump had carried, because Donald Trump is, has the power to go over these voters and win potential voters in this Rust Belt region. And I do think that it's not going to be a big win for Ted Cruz, but Ted Cruz is going to win the state of Ohio. In Minnesota, it was a likely margin for Donald Trump. I do think it's going to be a likely margin. Ted Cruz definitely not as popular as Donald Trump when it comes to voters, Republican voters. But I do think Minnesota is still going to go to Joe Biden by lean margins, likely margins. It's definitely not going to be a Hillary Clinton type of thing. Well, Hillary Clinton carried it by 2%. Joe Biden's carried it by 7%. It's probably going to go up to a 10% margin for Joe Biden. Wisconsin, I do think Ted Cruz is not somebody who's going to do well in the Rust Belt. Definitely not somebody who can do well in the Rust Belt at all. So that's just something that I wouldn't see Ted Cruz winning inside the Rust Belt at all. In the Rust Belt, Wisconsin, it's shifted very Democratic. Joe Biden carried it by 0.6%, and with Ted Cruz on the ballot, it's just going to bring that margin up to 2, 3, 4%. And in Michigan, when it was a 3% margin, it's going to go up 7%, similar to Obama's victory, because Joe Biden does improve there. He's really popular in Michigan, but with Ted Cruz, with Ted Cruz on that ballot, he's not as popular as Donald Trump. He's not able to win these voters. Donald Trump might be able to, as he did in 2016. or I still think Joe Biden would carry it. Ted Cruz, he's gonna downplay that. Pennsylvania means margin, not as liberal as Michigan, similar to Wisconsin, probably a bigger margin than Wisconsin though. In Pennsylvania, it's gonna probably be bigger than obviously Joe Biden carried it because of Ted Cruz on the ballot. That does mean that puts Joe Biden 273 electoral votes. Joe Biden does improve well in Philadelphia, these bigger regions. And Ted Cruz is not going to be able to do well in more suburban regions. He's not going to be able to bring up the numbers in suburban and urban areas. So Mississippi, it was a 16% for Donald Trump. It's going to go down to 13-14%, a likely margin for Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz at 132, Joe Biden at 273. That puts Joe Biden over that 270 mark. That does mean he will be reelected president for another 4 years. If this is according to my prediction. All of electoral votes and all the electoral votes mean for Biden. New Hampshire, if Donald Trump on the ballot, it's going to be a lean margin. Likely margin because of Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz does not perform well with these white voters here. Joe Biden performs much better with white voters when Ted Cruz is not on the ballot. And he also does a lot better with minority voters when Ted Cruz is not on the ballot. In South Carolina, it's going to be a likely margin for it's actually I'm going to put that leans margin because it's not going to, Ted Cruz is not going to perform too well in that state because of turnout of African Americans just not voting there. North Carolina, Donald Trump carried the state by 1.7%. If it was 2024, I'd probably put that as it's Joe Biden because Joe Biden was here, not Kamala Harris on the ballot. If it was Joe Biden against Donald Trump, I'd still give it to Joe Biden by a tilt margin, but because of Ted Cruz, there 20% of the state is African American turnout is going to go for Joe Biden overwhelmingly. And then McKellenburg and Charlotte area, these big cities are going to all vote overwhelmingly go for Joe Biden. Arizona, Hispanic vote, it's going to take it away from Ted Cruz. I do think that Arizona can actually go for Ted Cruz. Nevada is also going to be a tilt state. I do think Arizona could go either way. I'm going to give it to Joe Biden, but Ted Cruz can do well with these sort of minority voters in this southern region. Not as well in the northern region. African American states, not really. Hispanic states, probably. He's not going to do as well as people like Donald Trump, but he can do okay. Georgia leads a margin. African American turnout. This is not a state Ted Cruz is going to pick up at all because of African American turnout overwhelmingly going for Joe Biden. Ted Cruz is not going to be able to get that because African Americans make 1/3% of the state of Georgia. Florida, again, these minority Miami-Dade County voters, the reason Trump expanded his margin from 1% in 2016 to 3% in 2020 because he did overwhelmingly better in Miami-Dade. Ted Cruz, he's not going to be able to do overwhelmingly better in Miami-Dade. That is going to go to Joe Biden by tilt margin because he's still going to do well in that panhandle area. Texas, Ted Cruz's home state. You'd expect me to give it to Ted Cruz, but nope, it's not going to Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is not able. If it was 2020, I might have given it to Ted Cruz by a small margin. But Ted Cruz is not popular in his home state. He won it by less than 1% when it was going about 1% or so against Beto O'Rourke. And when he's going against Joe Biden, somebody very popular in this country, 60% when it comes to COVID-19. If he keeps all his promises, which he's most likely going to do, he's going to be favored by most of Americans. It's just not going to be. And then one of the districts in Nebraska, the first district, is going to go to Ted Cruz by a large margin. I'd probably give it likely or safe for Donald Trump for Ted Cruz. This is election prediction. He's not popular in Texas. So Ted Cruz, 141 electoral votes. Joe Biden, 397. I do think this could be a potential landslide if Ted Cruz is the candidate, just because he's not going to do as well. There. So, anyways, thank you guys for watching, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, leave a like down below, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.